This is a memoir or a memory of the last girl that I killed. Because I've killed many girls in my life. Not that I really wanted to, but because I never was trained properly in the ways of treating a woman right. And so I've been married, I think, for like 18 or 19 years, and I haven't seen my kid in 6 years. So, why did my wife throw me out? Hmm. Angry, rageful, calloused, thoughtless, inconsiderate, chauvinistic, misogynistic, and words that I can't even consider, which is like those are big enough words. Narcissistic. I would have never considered myself a narcissist, but in that reality, I am. My first marriage could have worked out if both of us were mature enough to have it work out. First two kids, gave them away for adoption, never had a relationship with my first two children. My son's name was Blake Patrick Anthony, but then they took the Anthony out. And then they just called Blake Patrick after my mother, Patricia. And then my first daughter was Lauren Ellen. And so my wife's name was Barbara Ellen. And so, and it's amazing, like, how in life, we, let's say, become prejudiced. And so I'm 58 years old, and maybe say I was prejudiced for 10 years, say. And so, my daughter ended up marrying a man of melanation. And it was surprising that the last girlfriend that I had was a girl with melanation. And she was absolutely the most beautiful woman I've ever dated. And so, but that doesn't mean anything either. It boils down to what I think is the perfect match for me, which just may be a perfect match for me. But then there's what they call variables. And variables are my wife, my very first wife, was a great match for me. I am a Leo goat, and she's an Aries goat. 7 years apart. And if we would have had marriage counseling, we would have had a phenomenal marriage. We were two peas in a pod. And just like my girlfriend after my first marriage, you know, I'm a Leo goat and she's a Leo horse, two peas in a pod. And we went together for 12 years, but, immaturity is my middle name. Uh, More like belligerence and, you know, they told me to go to rehab and I said, no, no, no. And so it's like, they told me to grow up and I said, no, no, no. And so, here I am at 58 years old, with not much more sense than a spoiled brat 13-year-old. And I just annihilated the most absolute perfect relationship that a man could ever want, depending on how mature the man is. And so, I've got so much to hash out. It's unreal. But we must start. And so, I was with Elle for a year. And in that year, uh, you know, she wrote things in my book that I never ever even read. And so now I'm going to go through my book and end up depicting the thoughts that she had that I should have read and then understood. But hindsight is always 2015, and you know, at one point in time, she called me her forever fiance, and so actually, she's my last wife, uh, and you know, we're married, but I don't know how to treat my wives, and so because of this, I get to be alone. Because of this, I get to put myself in a greater peril than when she was with me, and so I have a two-bedroom with one bath, and so I cleaned out my bedroom because I ripped apart the kitchen bedroom because my invisible roommate, who paid rent for 6 months and never moved in, uh, decided that he wasn't going to pay rent no more. Would you believe that? Oh. And so Elle paid my rent last month, and the month before that, I took out a cash advance, to pay $1,000. Man, I got 660 minimum payments on 10 credit cards and a personal loan, which I'm going to default on all of them. And so I went bankrupt like 2 years ago, right? And then, I worked so hard to get a 715 credit score to have a real childish way of looking at my relationship with Elle. And so that always brought me to a point of wanting to never stop using marijuana. And that's been my problem for all my life. And so out of all my life, I've only been sober for 12 years and I'm 58. And then so you add also that I was sober until like 8 years old. And so, I was sober for 8 years plus 12 years. And then so I was sober for 20 out of 60 years. And so 40 years I've been using. So I've really been resistant to change. And so here we are in the thoroes of my belligerence, and now I can see the light and how bright it is, and now blinded by pity, weakness, hopelessness. I stand in a bunch of pity because I had a real pretty black woman who loved me. But I said, "You can't love me because you eat too much bread and you wear a wig." And so it had nothing to do with the heart because I'm always about saving my face. And my heart is as wicked as a man that I know. Straight up murderous, slanderous, uh, vengeful, spiteful little heart I have. And so because of this, I get to take out my immature vicissitudes upon Elle. And so she really, she really forgave me and forgave me and forgave me. A true girl that will go to heaven. And I'm really sad that I decided to give her to another man because, I sullied her, married her, and then said, "It's time for you to go get a new boyfriend when I'm really your husband." But, not on paper. But God sees everything. And that's even scarier, guys. You got to understand, we got a DVR player, and you're going to be able to see this. And God just records everything and everything. And so, work out your salvation in fear and trembling. And give your body as a living sacrifice that's holy and acceptable to God. That this is your proper worship. Proper worship is giving your body as a living sacrifice to God. That is your proper worship. And so, who's doing that? Elle was doing that to a degree. You know, humans, we all fall short, but it's about a run of victory. And in my run of victory, you know, I'm full of the essence of so yeah, I would have made a great Muslim. I like to kill things, and I would have definitely would have crossed over to Homo sapiens if given the opportunity. And I love my crossbow. I love my crossbow, man. I'm a pretty good shot at 45 feet, which isn't very what is it, far away. But I pretty much can get a grouping about this big, and so if you could just shoot a zombie in the face, you know, from 45 feet away, you know, and aim there and hit anywhere here. So, you know, um, the sharpshooter, so sharp, I'm shooting the mouth of wannabe. And so, I started writing this book called The Story of My Life. And the reality is that it's, you know, X, R, and M related, right? And so, I'm trying to, what is the word? What is the word? The word is, go page by page. My writing, my writing, my writing, my writing, my writing, my writing. And so there's going to be a point where it's going to be and her writing, like right now. It starts. It starts. Okay, so part of my life story is okay. So we start our relationship somewhere here in the middle of my book, and then it lasts a year. Not much gets written in the book, but let's find out what she wrote. So, I reflected on a song way back when I guess I was growing up or something like that. And it says, Honey, my baby, don't put my love upon your shelf. She said, Don't give me no lines and keep your hands to yourself. No huggy, no kissy till I get a wedding ring. And then there was a little bit of a little pop up that she wrote. Little pop up. I got a pop up here too. So there's this pop up. So let's see what it says. It says, Pray Tess, love in love. Pray Tess in love. Wow, my love has the great talent, but thine plot we have been maimed, tamed. Yeah, we had a really good plot. The plot was is that we were going to love each other and grow old together, or I was going to grow old and she was going to hold my hand while I die. And so, you know, that's pretty sweet actually. That a 40-year-old girl would decide to want to engage in a older man's life and then decide that I'm going to watch him die and hold his hand. That alone is worth love. And so I keep flipping the pages and I'm seeing stuff now. Not yet her writing, but her ideas are coming to life. Can't believe how much I wrote. Now we see. All right. And then that's my writing, and that's not my writing. That's not my writing. That is my ever fiance, my married in spirit wife, Laketa. Let's see what Laketa had to say because heaven forbid that I actually, know what's on her mind because see, you know, there's this song I think Demi Lovato made. I'm not going to sit still and sit pretty, and you know, that's exactly what I wanted her to do, and it killed her. For her to stand still and sit pretty. because I'm lazy and I'm 1/30th the man I used to be. And now, because I have smoked for 39 years and have totally destroyed my body, and now I have a death wish, for being such a failure in all my marriages, never had a relationship with any of my children. Oh, and then it gets on and on. It gets bigger and bigger. It's more disgusting, and then so in Colorado, I have a one night stand. I have a crush on this girl for like a year and a half, but she's got a boyfriend, and her boyfriend's a little maniac. And then so I'm at the most proficient part of my Tai Chi, and I'm dressing feminine. And so, not that I'm dressing sexy, but I'm not wearing boys' clothes, and I'm wearing only female clothes in Colorado for 36 months. That's what I wore. And the reason is that I got a bright idea. So I've been studying martial arts most of my life, never got any good at it. It took me 4 years to get my yellow belt in Tai Chi at the Shaolin Temple. And so at least I was considered as good as a 1 year Chinese student. And so that was good. It only took 4 years. But on top of that, the meditation prevailed and gave me the state of clear that they talk about in Dianetics. Uh, and so that only took 16 years until I took this slow boat to China when I could have just paid the Scientologists, $3,200 and been audited and reached the state of clear and then been a movie star like Tom Cruise, right? And so here we are, last moment. I wear my sunglasses at night so I can see because these are prescription glasses and I look so beautiful and cool in these prescription glasses. On top of that, they're progressive lenses, and so now I can't even see myself, and then I can see myself. And, see, oh my God, Christmas of 1999. James 3:6. And the tongue is a fire of a world of iniquity, and the is so set among our members that it defiles the whole body and sets the fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire by hell. James 3:7. Indeed, we put bits in horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn their whole body. Look also at ships, although they are so large and are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder, wherever the pilot desires. Even so, a tongue is a little member, and it boasts great things. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of the sea, is tamed and has been tamed by mankind. But no man can tame the tongue. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. With it, we bless our God and Matthew. Wow. Father, and with it, you curse men who have been made in the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceed blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not be so. Does a spring set forth fresh water and bitter water from the same opening? Can a fig tree, my brethren, bear olives, or grape vine bear figs? Thus no spring yields both salt water and fresh. Ah, there you go. Not my handwriting. Not my handwriting. This is the girl writing now on 106/26. And so that was 5 months ago. She was not able to complete marriage with him because he refused to complete divorce again. With my present wife, I need to divorce my present wife. I should have divorced her like 5 years ago and been done with it and then married this girl and stopped this nonsense. But no, no, holding on, you know, to just this moldy sponge. You hold on to this moldy sponge. It's this process, man. It's like my wife, my second wife, Monica, she went to every lawyer that did public aid or what they call like legal aid and then put her name on a list as a retainer. And I could not get any legal aid being on Social Security, making $17,000 a year. It's like, I can't get a lawyer and I need like $7,000 for a divorce. So it's like, it's ridiculous. And so now I'm faced with this immorality. And so now she's like, she compiled with Christian values for this docile concubine practice. And so now we are consummated. As Christians, we're married now because we've had sex and we know there's a God and we know that once you consummate, you become one in spirit. And so, but I want to have that, you know, I want to be in the world and have spirit at the same time. And so now she's my concubine with sex on demand for his Muslim immorality fetish. And then heard him say she was a Kundalini Christian and she's and she's I don't know what the word is. Can you figure out what this word is? Can you figure out what this word is? I don't know what that word is. I have no clue what that word is. I can't even figure that word out if I even wanted to try. And so it's like pondered. She pondered. How can I laugh at him, wishing he had the power to sail me up? And so that's another thing that scares me. Well, it doesn't scare me. Actually, it makes me very happy. And, maybe she'll see this message, like 6 months from now. And then, you know, I'll be divorced from my wife and we can actually get married. And so, but apparently she had a little inheritance, and in this inheritance, she's getting like $54,000, and then she's looking at getting a houseboat and paying for gasoline, and so it looks like she's going on a trip, man. So you know, that's all because she needed one away from me and my wannabe Jack Reacher, to baby penguins, you know. And so she then heard him say she is a Kundalini Christian, and she pondered, how can I laugh at him wishing he had the power to sail me up? That it was all she wrote Tuesday. And so that was 5 months ago. And so I think here's another one. And then so this one it's not really dated because I didn't date it because I'm not dating things. So this is I dated it Saturday, January 24th. So then that's another 3 weeks after that first writing, and so we're not writing in this very regularly. So here we are again. And so now we're gonna, start going over through things that I should have gone over like a long, 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 long time ago. But not me because I'm so self-absorbed. Self-absorbed. Wow. Coming, he is Baby Yoda. Yod. Baby Yod. I don't know what that means. My father said to me, I don't love you. And I did not believe him. Maybe I could have. Maybe I should have. Maybe I would have. But a verse came to my mind to overthrow this conversations. Man, she's so biblical. And well, at least I know what I'm looking for in my next woman if she doesn't come back within the next 6 months or so. Um, and she shouldn't, because you know what? There is definitely a better man for her than me. But apparently, God, there was a lot of things that we had in common. But first, it had to be God. That was the only thing that was going to keep us together. Because none of my other relationships ever have had God, and so you know that never relationships never held together because there was no God, and this relationship could have held together because of God if I would have had God. Romans 5:8. But what about God? Then I grabbed the book from the shelf. He looked me right in the eyes and lied again. I don't love books about God or you. I can see just as clear as if it was today. We lack the ability to forgive ourselves. Father Abraham chose to agree to kill a boy. Today I admitted that with careful consideration I should save Jesus of Nazareth. I would save Jesus of Nazareth, Son of Man, instead of the second son of Abraham. So my hurt had killed the start of the first covenant of law. In the past, because I had fallen into seductive dance with Jesus of Nazareth, Son of Man, his eyes that spoke centuries to centurions, his ears that warmed me long enough to listen for long hours of me telling him everything I had done and still want to do. If I only had a husband that believed. For Ezra, a cured ham is as basic as a brown sugar cup of roux. Jesus just laughed. I went formal with him and dressed him in garments Dad never imagined he would be wearing. The free people, life would have it that, yes, thank God, his were garments of soft, treasured, handcrafted quality. My desire to be one without the stains of despair and violence would be the thread of our prosper in love. And so I had never been so violent. I was violent in my first marriage, but I was like 26 years old and just, just getting, I was just filled with piss and vinegar and anger. And so, and in my last marriage, I only literally hit my wife once, and that created like a hellfire wake of disaster for me. And but not with Al, man. I've been in like 5 physical confrontations with her, throwing fists at her, and she's like 150 pounds, and I'm like 190 pounds, and it's like, oh yeah, I am Lord of the Flies, King of the Roaches. And I take a lot of pride in being able to beat up on helpless little Christian girls with big hearts. Yeah, and I'm a special motherfucker. My desire to be one without the stains of despair and violence would be the thread of our prosper and love. Date, I am a murderer now. Perhaps the boy I killed has a mother with a supernatural gift of understanding. Yeah. So she's like my complete opposite. She's like a Virgo or something. Today, the 25th of February, the year of 2026, Donald J. Trump is the United States of question mark president and chief executive official in our coverage. I gave the leader of my grief observations a chance to share my suffering. I gave the leader of my grief, I think that's me, I'm the leader of her grief, a chance to share my suffering. He said, loosely based in reality, that he is mad that I, after having laid down beside him for sleep, had not blown the candle out. I moved my chess piece instead. His anger is slow, but he does harm me at least once a day for things I cannot control. He tells me I should tell my business to those that I have not passed my trust trials. I know not to reveal my soul to just anyone. Mrs. Bernie Brown was an exemplary coach in protection. She said, have a come to Jesus moment when everyone else fails you. His promise of unfailing love will get you through to the next time you don't dare to be. The great reminds me of M. Great reminds me of Michael. A great A scene, a great ass. A scene, you move a mountain and believe I will see you do it again. And then she puts a little one of these things, man. These things are a scary thing. That's not a good thing, I don't think. My report of faith, need a partner after I had my moment and an almost perfect cup of coffee and space to love. He denied me that. There's moments where I could have gone up to her and kissed her on like the back of the head, or put my arms around her, or you know, uh, even made it seem, you know, like she produced a value of like warmth, or a value of, you know, companionship, a value of, you know, aura that, you know, I could have, been much more appreciative. That's one of the greatest things that I have, is my ability to be. Well, I had that coming to me. You know, now I desire a happy meal from McDonald's, a sandwich in a wrapper, plus toys, the season for shamrock shakes, my Americana, my way. It hurt. He, the only friend I have that lives the Bible as much as I do, loves the Bible as much as I do. I don't know if I love the Bible. I mean, I've read it now finally, and I would have read it more with her if I would have dropped some of my walls. All right. Yeah. Taken from me, given to false doctors. My feelings are in transition right now from the whirlwind of fear. You know, it's just awful. Wow. It is just awful to know that I'm just a filthy, mean person. It's sad that all that I've become is a angry, twisted, violent individual, and I'm only 1/30th of the man I used to be. But now I have other means, which is nothing. I can shoot a crossbow, man, and hit a cantaloupe from 15 yards. It's not a real big feat, but it is possible, I guess. Anyways, hope that he and I will change our minds and choose each other instead of the outsiders influencing our city. We are in Chicago, once a major attraction. Some now some have now some haven't for anything that isn't caught red-handed. My small amounts of mercury of what this damage after the pandemic trade stands to gain from our survival escapes when I have a witness. Jehovah provides, Jehovah remembers, Jehovah adds something to the pot, more than luck, more than words, less than condemnation, less than shame. This recounts matters. One plus one. Michael and L. Peace. Happy. Wow. Really played with this girl's heart, man. Yeah, and she needs time to sail around the world and then come to realize that I will never have another love like that again in my life. Of course I will, because I'm going to change and I'm going to become lovable and I'm going to be able to, what the word is, reciprocate love correctly. And then so, you know, maybe in a couple of years I will have love, but, you know, I'm married to Elle and I'm not going to cheat on her. Uh, and so I don't deserve to have another girl after taking this beautiful woman's heart and destroying it again. And so she's my wife. She's still alive, and I don't get to cry foul. I don't get to cry foul. On the last day of the second month, in the observation of how much the darker complexioned have contributed to the building and the morally shaping of worship and life and love of God's kingdom on the western side of this great planet, I find myself disturbed by the distress of others' kind mess. Yes, the version of us is the only version we have, but God needs to help me breathe through every moment of anger that rises within me so that I control myself from taking the head off of this toy Jesus, a gift from the part of me that I love enough to let affect me. He claims he left his keys as leaves me sleeping without a goodbye kiss or touch, or to say, I need you to stay here and wait for me while I handle the businesses of life. And that is why I write. I write to leave my body, to dispel this so called struggle. I leave this imagined feelings of everything is coming down on me into the pages I create to release what is all in my stored power of authority over someone else's actions. Once I get over this possible 16 hours of grudge, boy, I sure would. It's sad that, you know, I'm so manipulative and so twisted, so self serving, so chauvinistic, that I'm not able to, like, treat people as people. Everyone is just some sort of commodity, or thing. And it hurts. It hurts to see that when you look into somebody's mind, that you've affected them for hours, almost a whole day, because you know I don't love you. I don't love you. I can't love you. You know, I don't want to love you. I don't want to try to love you. I can return to the true blessed young lady I truly am while these hurts pass. I know I must cling to breath and the highest power in all the heavens. Keep me, I think, keep me clean. Don't let others' actions overwhelm me to the point of anything but tears. I made myself into a peaceful creature, one who writes to liberate and lingers into the eyes of strangers. I walk and talk as I know I am the spirit of goodness, and I thought of kindness and care is more than an action of force as an outlet. Strength comes from me when I can actively change physical force into positive thought patterns. That's how I have came this far in my recovery journey. I have my little image of a savior with a winning sash in the palm of my hand, smiling at me. Love me. Okay. And that feels good. To feel great, I need to be acknowledged by my partner as the person that stands on the principle integrity. I do what I can to be the best version of us before we arrive at the version of us, so that my portion is already trusting we will both recover and restore the version the Creator had in mind, the people we were in the highest realms. I continue to see that those happy beings are a reality somewhere, even them as a story in my heart. He and I exist. Wow. Okay, so I need to mark this page that I read it. Like, oh, how do you mark a page that you've already read it? How does this work? Huh, did that work? Did that actually work? Like, oh, I read it to that point. So, where do I need to start? Well, where do I need to start? How about right there? Should I start right there? Sounds like a good. How about more like, what page are we on? What page are we on? Do we even have pages in this book? No. And so it is called the purple page. The purple page. Purple page. Page. All right then. Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening. One of these days, I'm gonna. What is it? Make a schedule. You guys should make a schedule at least at once that will watch. Say, I'll watch you if you would make a schedule at this time, and then so that would make it easier for us to connect somehow. What an amazing thing. This has been live on YouTube. Have a blessed evening through Jesus. End stream. End stream.